In this video, I'm going to be going over a clip from Josh Strife Hayes' channel. He is a guy who streams on Twitch and YouTube. He does a kind of a lot of off-brand stuff. Off-brand meaning games that aren't so much following the trend, quite the opposite. He plays a lot of older games. And I kind of want to see what his feedback is to a question in his chat about following trends or not following trends when you're trying to stream on Twitch. Because Twitch as a platform is not very conducive when you are a newer streamer to growing an audience because there's no discoverability on it. It's just kind of who's ever at the top gets the more views, which I mean is kind of how things go anyway, but even more so on Twitch because it doesn't have an algorithm to help push you up or anything like that. And so it's a lot different than YouTube in that regard. So I kind of want to hear what he has to say and then kind of give my feedback as somebody who's still very new in the space and kind of see what I can learn and then what I may or may not know in terms of how things work and things of that nature.
I have a question. If I want to stream, do I stream games that I'm passionate about or follow the trends? The streaming is more for fun than trying to go for money. Do whatever you want to do then. Do whatever you want to do. So it's a knife edge, it's a weird graph. If you want to stream video games, you have to find a way to provide value to the audience. That's what you need to do. No matter what game you use, no matter how you stream, provide value to the audience.
And so at this point, I 100% agree. This extends way beyond just video games too. I mean, this extends to everything. You're trying to find a way to provide value. I mean, a lot of the biggest streamers, they provide value in, I mean, all of it is entertainment, but they provide, at least there's more of a value proposition in their entertainment as opposed to other people. We'll take, for instance, Mr. Beast on YouTube. He's the biggest YouTuber by far, and it's not even close. He provides value from his just way over the top videos that are always high quality and things of that nature, and so people like to watch him. On Twitch, a lot of the biggest streamers provide value in their commentary and the way they interact with the chat. I mean, not all of them. There's a couple that maybe don't interact as much as others, but for the most part, it's not even that they have to interact with the chat either. It's them just doing over the top stuff. One huge streamer right now is Jinxie. He just does everything over the top and is kind of hilarious to watch, and so that's why people watch him, because he's raging, he's just going over the top. And reminds me of back in the day. I'm not that old, but back when I was younger, just going over the top with the raging and stuff, because it's just funny. And so other people like to watch that. So that's how he provides his value. And so yeah, that value proposition is the number one thing you have to have. And while it is easier to follow the trends in that regard, because the trends, some games will have a lot more viewers in the category, let's say, for a newer game, so it would be easier to stream in that category. But let's say, well, for him, he doesn't like playing the newer games, he likes playing the older games. And so he's built up that audience that enjoys the value that he provides through his entertainment playing these older games, and so that's how he has his audience. And so that's been a thing that I've been looking into as well, because it's kind of tough, I feel like, sometimes, because you don't know if you're playing the right game or you're doing the right content or whatever. And so you can kind of get caught in that loophole. At least even I find myself doing that day to day, and it's kind of like, more important than the game you're playing is the value you're providing, humor, feedback, things of that nature. You're trying to sell yourself, as you are with anything. If you want to make it online, you have to be able to market and sell yourself efficiently and effectively. So
If you want to stream an extremely popular game, let's use an example of, Power World or Apex Legends or something like that, you are going to be competing with a huge number of other streamers, which means if someone divides or kind of searches by just the game, they will not find you. They are more likely to search by the game, without a doubt, because it's a more popular game, but you are less likely to be seen. You're a small fish in a big pond. Let's say instead you stream a 22-year-old RPG. Let's take Morrowind as an example. There are not that many people streaming Morrowind right now, but equally, there are not that many people searching for Morrowind streams, which means while you are more likely to be found by whoever searches for it, the number of people searching for it are just lower. Ultimately, if someone finds you, they will stay because you entertain them. They will stay because you engage with them and you provide something a stream cannot provide. If you want to do it for fun, you have to understand that when you sit down to play a video game, normally 100% of your focus is on that game.
Yeah, and see, this is the thing that I've been struggling with too, is with playing. I've only played games a couple times on stream. I'm usually just doing like a Q&A, just talking the entire time. I mean, I've been trying to do other things, but it ends up just being talk. I just end up talking more than anything. And so, because it's easier to just focus on one thing at a time, I'm trying to get better at that multitasking aspect of it. But he makes a really valid point. It's that those games are just so saturated and there's just so many people playing it and you're competing with the top streamers that it's so hard to be able to get people to come in when you're a nobody and you have people at the top who have an established viewer base, have been streaming for longer, so they can be more entertaining in a way that maybe you can't, because like myself, I'm getting there, but it's not perfect by any means. I mean, nothing is, but even more so for me. And so in that regard, I do think that streaming the less popular games is kind of a way to get a little more of an audience, especially if you're doing it day after day, where you just get more exposure in that category. Which brings up the other point that playing these really old RPGs, I mean, is there enough content for you to just keep playing them in that category? I don't really know. So maybe you would become a streamer who is just streaming a bunch of older games. And so that's where I kind of find the struggle in knowing to play a saturated game, because some of them, the newer games, are really fun. Like you mentioned, Palworld. I mean, just from a basic standpoint of gameplay and what you could do, it's pretty fun. I mean, it's basically a ripoff of Pokemon, but it's still fun. That's why people play it at the end of the day. And so it is really trying to find that balance, I think. And like he said, it's providing that value and that feedback interaction that people are looking for. And so yeah, I think while it's not the most important thing to follow trends, it's like he said, it is a bell curve. It's so hard because it's like you want to follow trends, but you don't. And so it's kind of like a balancing of that. I want to see if he goes into it a little more into depth about it.
If you sit down to stream, you have to find a way to split your focus between the game and the audience. And if you split it 50-50, both of them end up being bad.
And that's the other thing too, is like I've been somebody who's trying to stream a game and interact with chat. It is crazy how much harder it is to try to actively read while playing a game that's completely separate. Like, I did not think it was going to be as challenging as it is, but if you're somebody who has tried it before, you get it. It is incredibly difficult to be able to not only focus on what you're doing, but also focus on interacting. It is an interesting game in and of itself. We'll just put it that way.
You aren't paying enough attention to the game to beat the game, and you aren't paying enough attention to the audience to entertain the audience. So you've got to find a way to play a game in such a way that you don't need to pay too much attention to it, but still have some level of skilled gameplay, while you're paying enough attention to the audience to entertain them. For example, I've just ran completely the wrong way on the map because I'm spamming jump and trying to respond to your content. That's why so many people say to me, oh my god, I can't believe I watched this streamer play the game and they were so bad. They would probably be quite good if they only had to worry about the game.
again, yeah, it is incredible how much skill you lose when separating your attention across not only the game but to over to your chat. It's one of those things that you don't really know until you try it. I mean, you don't necessarily have to do it with a chat, but you could just, I don't know, have an article up on the side and just kind of pretend in your own way just to kind of give it a try and just kind of like read the article, give a comment on it while trying to play, and you will see just how difficult it is. I mean, it's even more so difficult with chat because a bunch of different people are messaging a bunch of different things, and so you're just kind of like, I don't even know what's going on right now. You're trying to focus on actually playing the game and I don't want to say providing value in that way, but playing the game in a way that makes you look like you're not a complete idiot, but then also responding to chat in a way that also doesn't make you look like a complete idiot. So it's the balancing act is real.
I mean, if you want me to just play Morrowind, I can just play Morrowind. That's fine. I'll be way better at it, but I would be feeling guilty constantly about the fact of not entertaining.
I will listen, Outlander, but make it quick.
See, I read that quickly. It's a mini quest about them wanting to kiss you, and if you do, I'm pretty sure you get paralyzed. But I didn't make any content out of it. I decided not to. And that's a boring way of being. Is there such a thing as being bad at games in a skillful manner? Yeah, without a doubt. Definitely. But
See, I agree with that too. A lot of people like to see people fail. It's just how it is. I think more people are actually looking to see in what ways you fail. That way they can spam and say that you're bad, as opposed to you. Well, I don't want to say that all the time because some people like to watch people because they're very good at games, and some people like to watch them because they're not so good, and it's just funny to see them fail over and over again, which in its own way is also another form of value entertainment. So again, it's I guess it's trying to find in what way you want to be a streamer and entertainer in that regard. It's like, are you wanting to be somebody who's cracked, or you wanting to be somebody who's okay at best? It's really just about working out your kind of personality type and then going from there. Because at the end of the day, it's you that you're trying to sell, not necessarily the game you're playing. And so it's about you providing yourself value to others, and hopefully they see that value and want to stay around.
that doesn't mean that you don't need to have fun while playing them. The skill is to make it look like you're not putting any effort in, when in reality, you are. Like, if you see someone gracefully swimming across the surface of a lake, what you don't see is the fact that their little legs are going, 20 to the dozen, under the water, trying to make it look like they're not working at all. Make things look effortless. And someone who understands how much effort these things take will look at you and go, God damn, you're making that look effortless. Sometimes I can't think of anything to say, so I focus on the game. Sometimes I can think of a lot to say, so I focus on you guys and chatting and having fun. Ultimately, if I'm not having fun with the game, I'll just stop playing it. You can't make it feel forced. It's one of those horrible things where,
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing too, is you're trying to make it feel natural. You don't want to make it forced, like he said, to the point where you're forcing an interaction that doesn't feel natural, in the sense that you can just throw random things out there to talk about, and oh, like I see right there on the screen, needs to be organic. It's true. It's just kind of the flow of things, just how it goes from one point to the next. You don't just want to start blurting out random things. I mean, it's also another thing he touched on is that you need to have fun playing the game. Like, if you don't, then I mean, sure, you can do it short term, but it's not sustainable in any way. And nobody plays games that they don't like. I mean, I'm sure there's a couple people who are kind of like a masochist in that regard, but most sane people don't play games that they don't like. So it should be the same for the streamer. It's like you should be playing a game that you enjoy to play. That way you can have fun doing that while also have fun interacting with the chat. So
I've got so many friends and relatives who say to me, oh, my son, my daughter, my cousin, my niece, my nephew.
Where would you like to go?
I'd like to go to Balmoral, please. Is it Balmoral we're going to? Yes. And then Mage's Guild.
Why walk when you can ride?
So many people say to me, oh, my son, daughter, cousin, whatever, wants to be a YouTuber, wants to be a Twitch streamer. Can you talk to them? Can you give them some advice? And I see so many people, and when they say they want to be a YouTuber or a Twitch streamer, what they mean is they like playing video games. How can they make money doing that? And that's like saying, I like watching films, therefore how can I be an actor? Okay, it's a good place to start. You know what? It's a good place to start.
I've
love
heard a
watching
lot
films.
about you, Outlander. Go ahead.
That's why I wanted to be an actor. But what I realized was that just watching films isn't enough to be in films. You then need to go and train at your craft, learn how to do it, that kind of stuff. If playing video games is fun for you, that's great. Watching films is fun for some people. It's like watching football on TV and saying, oh my God, I want to be a footballer. How do I have to do it? Well, ironically, you won't be watching anywhere near as much football if you want to do it.
this is true. It is all about honing your craft. Like we've touched on multiple times, it is, in theory, it's very nice to be able to make money doing something you enjoy doing, like playing video games, or make money reviewing movies or things like that. But what people don't understand is that on the other side of all of that is all the time that goes into honing your craft, as he alluded to. All the time you spend not only honing your craft, but also studying everything about that craft as well. So it's a lot of research on the back end, trying to figure out in what way you can become better at it, which will detract from how much you can play the games or create the content, because a lot of it is trial and error, just studying, trying to become better, which by nature of the fact of you trying to become better at it also detracts a little bit from the pleasure, if you kind of understand what I'm saying, because you're trying to become a better entertainer. So in that respect, you can't really focus on playing the game as much anymore, which takes away some of the entertainment for yourself playing the game. And so, yeah, it's, as somebody who's just getting into it, it's not easy at all. And there is a lot of work that goes into it. It is a long and, what's the word I'm looking for here? I'm not sure. A long and gruely? I don't think that's the word, but we'll go with that for now. Road. Stupid. To get to the point where you're able to do it where it seems like it's not a lot of stress or effort. Like another big one's Asmongold. I enjoy his content too. He wasn't always like that, and it took him a long time to get to where he is now, like years and years and years. And it was a lot of trial and error, and a lot of people enjoying his entertainment enough that they saw the value he was providing to then stick around and watch him. It's not as easy as just turning on a stream and then playing a game. It's nowhere near that. There is so much more that goes into it that people need to realize that it is so much more work than just playing a game. Like, it's not just, oh, he makes money playing video games, that must be a crazy easy job. No. It's very front loaded in that regard. It gets easier the longer you've been in it, but everything does. But at the very beginning, you are just grinding. It is grinding, grinding, grinding. And it's probably not even going to be really a ton of fun at the beginning. fun, which yeah, it's not really the whole thing with fun and happiness too, but that's a whole different subject. But in the very beginning, it's a slog fest, and it's just something you had to almost find enjoyment in the process of learning, of not having a lot of people around, still being able to provide that entertainment when there's not a lot of people, and just growing from there. Because I guarantee you, the first few years, you're gonna feel like you're basically nowhere. Yeah, because I feel that way myself, but I had to remind myself it's a process, it takes time, and as long as you're constantly implementing and improving yourself, you will get better.
You then need to go and train to be an actor, train to be an editor, learn to be a graphic designer, learn to be a researcher, learn to manage your own time, do all your own taxes, that kind of stuff. There's a hell of a lot of work behind it. Most people do want to receive instant success by going viral. I mean, oh man, the amount of companies that approach me, and I know that I go off on tangents a lot, but I tend to talk when I'm doing these streams a lot. If you want to stream for you, just download a really basic streaming software, stream for you. Super easy, don't expect too much. You might get 1 viewers, you might get 2 viewers, but you will realize the moment you start to try and entertain those viewers, instead of playing the game, you don't make anywhere near as much progress on the game, and you lose it as well. You lose the skill and the energy that you put into the game. Why do you think we've been playing Morrowind for like 20 hours and we're like 4 quests in to each quest line? We could have been halfway through the game by now if I was just powering through the game. But the amount of companies, you said the word viral, and that very much sets me off. The amount of companies that come to me and go, hey Josh, we want to make a viral video. I'm like, oh mate, same. How do we do it? And they look at me and they go, we were hoping you could help with that because you've had some videos receive over 1 million views. I'm like, yeah, I have. And I've had way more not do that. So what we could do...
See, that's the thing too, is there's just so many people that want that viral success that they forget that all of these people who it seems like they just blew up on one video. I mean, there obviously is the anomalies where that is the case, but more often than not, way more often than not, it is somebody who has been grinding and grinding and grinding, and then they have one thing that takes off, and then from there it just seems like success, 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 success. Almost all of the big Twitch streamers I feel like have been like that for the most part. And not even Twitch streamers, YouTubers, anything else. They are nobody, and then the next day they're a somebody. Wouldn't it be nice if you just made one video and it went viral and you were the next Mr. Beast by one video? That's not how the real world works, and that's how it will never work, because that's just not... Trying to approach everything from that mindset is not a very good place to be, because then you will want to give up the moment that it doesn't work, which, newsflash, it won't work. It's not up to you, it's up to the rest of the world. And so you can try your very best to have the best video, but if nobody sees it, nobody sees it. And so it's, yeah, the whole thing about going viral, it's like, you never know what video is going to go viral. That's why you just keep trying to implement different ways that you think you are providing that value to then hopefully get that viral video where people see the value and want to watch it. I mean, other than that, you can't force a viral video. It's, oh man, it actually blows my mind that people think you could do something to have it go viral. It's like, no, you can't. There's definitely certain things you can do to make it a greater probability that it goes viral, but nobody knows. I mean, I feel like a lot of the videos that go viral nowadays too are just so... I mean, a lot of them aren't even necessarily like better than other videos. It's just something that happens to take off. And so from that aspect, it's like, how do you even calculate that? And it's like, well, you kind of can't. So chasing the viral aspect of it, it's not the way.
do if you want to make a viral video is we could make hundreds of videos over many years, slowly improving our craft and slowly niching down into a very specific audience that we want to, cater to and have and entertain. And they look at me and they're like, no, we were hoping you could just make one video and it would get loads of views. I'm like, gotcha. I see what's out. I'm picking up what you're putting down here. Let me counter. If I was able to do that, why would I work with you? Like, if I could just do that, if I could wake up and be like, you know what? Guys, the only reason that I haven't put out a 10 million view video is I just don't want to. That's what it is. I can. I just choose not to. When I make a video, sometimes I make it too good. And I'm sitting there watching the final edited piece and I'm thinking, this is going to get 5 million views. That's too many. Let me put some wrong things in. Let me make the editing a bit shitter. Let me talk to the algorithm and, hobble my own kind of exposure to everything. Yeah, 800k to 1 million. That's good. I'll sit around that level. But companies come to me all the time and go, yo, can you get us these views? I'm like, look, if I could, I would get them for myself and not work with you, because working with you is stress and I don't want that. I want to wake up, play my silly games, make my silly videos, paint my little plastic boys and go back to bed. That's what I want to do.
There you have it. It's like they reach out wanting these viral videos. It's like, if I had that kind of power to do it, why, like he said, why would I be working with you? That is just added stress of trying to not only please you, but also please a bunch of people, because that's what you're doing when you're making a viral video. If people had the power to do that, I mean, I guess the only person who really could, even nowadays, would be like a Mr. Beast, because he's grown his brand to the point where his videos just get tons of views no matter what, for the most part. But it's also because people expect and know that they're going to be high quality videos too. So again, the whole, no, we need you to make a video that's going to get 10 million views in one day. It's like, if I had the power to control myself doing that or not doing that, we would not even be talking, because you wouldn't even be able to pay me enough to have you sponsor this video. Like, it's just
I still edit the vast majority of my own stuff because I value it. I enjoy that. Yeah, let me shit this up a little bit. Let me make this a little bit worse. What plastic? Well, right now, we've got both the boxes for the Warhammer The Old World that I will be working through eventually. Hey, Mr. Josh, can you make a video for me that will get 2 million views? Best I can do you is 800k, and it will take about a month to get there. That's what I can do. That's where the worst MMO ever kind of sits in general. I really love it when companies come to you with no clue at all. I used to work with companies who wanted to do drama training for kids. And they would come to me and they say, Mr. Hayes, you've got about a 6-week slot to work with these children. You'll see them for 1 hour a week. Can we put on a show? I'm like, 6 hours. 6 hours is what you're giving me. And they will forget what I've taught them in lesson 1 by the time lesson 2 starts. And you want me to put on a show? Right? You'd be lucky if they remember anything I tell them over these 6 weeks. You have far too much faith in me. Let's lower those expectations. Prepare to be whelmed. I mean, yeah, I can put an...
Prepare to be whelmed. So true. It's like the expectations nowadays. It's like, oh, you had one video that had 10 million views. Please do it again, and we'll sponsor this video. It's like, we don't really have control over that. Like, I love that. Prepare to be whelmed. That's so funny. Oh, man. But yeah, I mean, understand if you want to get into Twitch streaming, YouTubing, and YouTubing, is that it? I guess it is a word. If you want to get into any of those, it is a long road, and you're going to have to put a lot of work into it, because anything that has any staying power requires a lot of work. And while, yes, there is these one offshoot people who blow up for it seems like no reason, it's better to think that it won't be you, and it's better to think that you're going to try and put the work in yourself to get there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I really like Josh Strife. He seems like a very chill guy. I love his accent too, and the way he dresses. I dress up myself, but it is what it is. If you guys did like the video, make sure to leave a like, and then comment what you guys think about people nowadays expecting just having one video go viral immediately. I mean, I'm somebody who, I mean, I don't have a ton of videos, obviously, but I have videos, well, one video in particular that's like doing very well, and I have a video that has like 2 views, and it's one of my newer videos. It's like it just wasn't a hit. And so you just say, well, that kind of sucks, and then just move on. That's all we can do. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you all think about this, and I hope to see you around. Peace.